This story is very, very fascinating because, not a lot of people are talking about this, but I think it's worth mentioning. Now, maybe this is limited to Southern California theme parks. I'm not sure, but there is definitely something in the air. I'm talking about this story right here. This is from Five Fires or the Kelly Bay on X. It says right here, Wednesdays just got removed from Scary Farm ticket calendar. Now, not Scary Farm, right? It's a more of a minor event, and by itself, it wouldn't be enough to provide a story here. But you can see right here, Wednesdays, that is, empty now. They've canceled all those dates. But then another park got involved with this time from Fright Fest at Six Flags Magic Mountain over there in Valencia, California. They got rid of Thursday nights. And it's like, what is going on there? Why did two separate theme parks get rid of their events from the calendar? Now, they are under one chain now, under the Six Flags brand, but that's very unusual. And then it affected Disneyland. So Disneyland is now going to close previously from midnight, now to 11 p.m. This is very unusual, especially for this time of year, because usually they stay open, Disneyland that is, stays open until midnight quite regularly. And I wanted to go ahead and verify this, so I actually went to Mouse Planet here. And Mouse Planet, they actually archive all of their updates, which has all of the hours listed. You can see right here, September 9th, 2024. And if we scroll down to their calendar containing all of the hours, we can actually see that usually around this time, they close till midnight. You can see right here, just a random day in September, midnight, midnight, and midnight. So for them to go from midnight, as listed here, to 11 p.m., like I was saying before, it is very unusual. And it's not until you get to October that things start to change in that regard. But you'll notice in this calendar right here that they'll go from midnight, maybe on the weekends, and then maybe 11 p.m. on the weekdays, which sort of makes sense. And you can see right here, tier 3 ticket, tier 3 ticket, tier 6 ticket. So that kind of is why they do something like this. But for the foreseeable future, on the Disneyland Resort calendar, they're closing at 11 p.m. And again, this is not in isolation. We have two theme parks now canceling events at various times for their Halloween events. And at the same time, you have Disneyland Resort reducing hours. I bring all of this up because it has been very tough for the theme park industry right now. We've heard that from Six Flags' latest earnings call. They were super low, and we've also seen from Disney domestically. If we compare quarter to quarter, they actually have gone down. And we all know about the problems of Walt Disney World and so forth. My question to you guys is, what is going on here? Why is the theme park industry parroting, some of the stuff back? Why are there bigger issues at play? Is it just limited to Disney? Is it just limited to the Southern California area? And what is going on? Please, your thoughts, panel.
I think that this merger between Cedar Fair and Six Flags is one of the most disastrous things to ever happen in the theme park industry, because all we're seeing is they suddenly merge, and all of a sudden we're like, hey, this is kind of expensive to run all these theme parks. And you are just seeing cut after cut after cut after cut after cut. And now if they are like, because Fright Fest is a big deal for Six Flags, just like Knott's Scary is a big deal for Knott's Berry Farm. These Halloween events are a big deal. And for them to be getting cut the way they're getting cut, that's telling. I mean, Six Flags is closing entire parks. All the park presidents have been fired. This is pretty nuts. As far as Disneyland closing early, I guess maybe there are. Now, I assume they don't see the downturn in the fall the way Walt Disney World does, because it's not as big on tourism, right, Vash?
Yeah, there is a little bit of a slowdown, but and they use that as an opportunity. Disneyland Resort, that is, Team Disney Anaheim. They use this time period as an opportunity to refurbish attractions. So, like for example, Raider Springs Racers right now is actually down for, I think, like 4 weeks or something. That's very unusual to have that down for that period of time, and especially now. But it's not super unusual to have refurbishments take place here. That being said, though, that while there is a little bit of a slowdown, it's not nearly as profound as Walt Disney World, to your point.
Yes, I'm not sure why they're suddenly cutting hours at Disneyland. I mean, yes, it's only an hour. The bigger story here is absolutely getting rid of an entire night of the week for one of your premier Halloween events, though. I mean, that is,
yeah.
I think you're going to get to the point where this newly merged company is going to have very few theme parks within the next 2 years. I think you're going to see a lot more closures.
And we just covered a story from I forget who had the source on this, but it's basically a LinkedIn post from Matt We Met. Matt We Met being the previous Disneyland Resort Park president, and then he was the CEO for Cedar Fair for a period of time right there. He was saying that he can't endorse what is going on at Six Flags right now because he just didn't agree with management decisions there. And like you had mentioned, Marvin, one of those things was the reduction in headcount. I think it was like 10% or something like that. I mean, they've made really aggressive moves to try to make that enterprise profitable at the expense of many attractions, like King Ka, for example, and putting off a lot of their capital expenditures as well. It's just not a super well-run organization. So, them cutting something like that back doesn't necessarily surprise me. But then at Disneyland Resort, we just covered another story in which you had early entry that was completely taken out of the equation for Disneyland Resort guests. And it's like that. Well, that's 30 minutes of labor plus the hour on the back end right there. Now we're kind of adding up to things that aren't great. And so is it just Disney having financial problems? Is it them trying to keep operating expenses down, or is there something else going on in this market? Maybe not just Southern California, but domestically. Culture. Your thoughts?
Well, I think what they're doing is telling. I think they're taking full advantage of the extra time to conduct the maintenance that you referenced, because then they don't have to pay anybody any more money. The staffing reduction for keeping all the attraction leads and all the people that are aiding in the attraction management, sending them home early. I mean, there's a whole lot of wins here for Disney to reduce hours, and a lot of losses for the people that go to these parks and plan their vacations accordingly, up to often a year in advance, if not longer. Yes, you're getting less for more. So enjoy. This is the Disney game plan.
I totally agree, Ron. Animal Kingdom, when it reduces hours, that's a big deal because, well, it's Walt Disney World, it's for one. But two, I mean, that park is only open till 6, 7 or whatever. So when it goes from 6 to 5, that's just massive. But I will say Disneyland Resort or Disneyland Park is like the second most attended theme park in the world. I mean, it's got a huge amount of that annual population right there. Your reaction to something like this, is this just an industry trend? Is this just, trying to be consistent with Walt Disney World operations? Go ahead.
I don't just think that this is an industry trend. I think there is a cultural shift going on that not many people are discussing. My wife and I were talking this morning. It was very, very interesting. We're talking about the younger generation. So I know Culture and I for sure, Marvin, grew up in an era where theme parks were starting to explode. In the 1970s, that was a cultural shift because theme parks were becoming the forefront, and everybody was excited because they were brand new across the nation, from 55 in Disneyland and 71 in Disney World, and then Six Flags started to explode, and then they started to go everywhere. And it was the 70s, the 80s, the 90s were all very, very exciting. And then smart devices came into play, and kids started doing other things than wanting to go to theme parks. And at the same time, people like us from our generation started spending money on different things in theme parks, the merchandise, the alcohol. There is a tremendous cultural shift where I just think in general, less families are going to theme parks. They're spending their money in different ways. Unfortunately, what the theme parks seem to be doing, rather than trying to win the audience back of, hey, let's do something for kids, let's provide more stuff for kids and advertise to families and make things more affordable for families, they're going the exact opposite direction. It's more expensive merchandise, it's more alcohol, it's more of everything that basically turns families away from wanting to go to these parks. Well, when that happens, guess what? Now you have to cut back hours. Now you have to cut budgets. You have to remove. I mean, they're not going to stay open as longer because the demand has shifted, and it's up to the theme parks to do something to get the demand back, not to the dinks who are going to expire in 10, 20, 30 years, but to families to reignite the cultural shift and the excitement to theme parks. And I don't see it in the advertising. I remember, going back to that 2015 Disney advertisement where, hey, stay on Disney property and you get the Disney difference and you get all this stuff for free and magical expression. That's just 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago, they were providing all kinds of incentive for families to come to these parks. And they have now just kicked families to the curb. And I think that's what we're seeing here in all these reductions. Poor management, poor marketing, and this cultural shift where you got to win kids back off their darn devices and video games and get them to want to come out to these parks. And you don't do that by putting video games in the parks.
Right. So when I grew up in the 90s, and Walt Disney World was very accessible in the 90s. It was same with all theme parks, you know. It was affordable to go, and yeah, Ron hit the nail on the head there, I think. So now, like I remember, so there is the port of entry stores, which are right at the front of World Showcase. And I went into one. It's always been a toy store, right? So it's been a place you can go get toys and kid stuff. And I went into one recently, and now there is a Pandora counter, and it's all designer handbags and adult apparel. And I'm like, this is Dinks R Us. Everything is no longer, it's all being focused at Disney adults. It's not being focused on kids anymore. And, you know, to their peril. And we're seeing what's happening because of
it. And my wife, she's like, you know, the fact that my wife, who's not even like working with us in this space, is seeing it while she's watching a live stream at Epcot today while they're focusing on the merchandise. And my wife is talking about, she's like, if kids aren't going, where's the audience in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years? Gone. They're going to drive themselves out of business if they keep this up.
Oh, it's so true. And you know, it's really profound, really, really interesting, because when you look at the trends and when you look at what Ron was talking about, people, you know, I think what is also happening is people are getting a lot more choosy with their money, right? They're getting a lot more choosy with where to spend their money. And if you do provide an attraction worth going to, well, then people will spend the money. In what we've seen with Epic Universe and Comcast, right? If we look at Comcast earnings going up 20% year over year, 25% quarter over quarter, demonstrable that you know, people wanted to go out and actually see that versus, you know, the old and busted being Walt Disney World with aging attractions and not a lot of capital expenditures to show for the last couple of years. One omission from all of what we were talking about before with Fright Fest and Not Scary Farm and all of that, the one company not cutting back, or at least not that I could find, was Universal. So, you know, maybe it's not so macro after all. Maybe it's just
Universal's about to get into its biggest you know, like big season, which is the Halloween season, because nothing, I don't care about Not Scary Farm or Hallow Scream or anything, nothing comes anywhere close to not Fright Fest, to Halloween Horror Nights.
Correct. Correct. Yeah,
it's they do the event so well and they market it well. I mean, even the advertisements that I'm seeing with Fuzzy TV and this is what's going on in the Five Nights at Freddy's and this, I'm like, you know, it's funny because I'm not a huge HHN fan of the houses, and like I've been on the other side so much. I've been these scarer working in those, but like this year, I really want to go. Like I'm looking at the ads and I'm going, man, I got to get to this thing.
Well, so they may have flown too close to the sun on the Terrifier house, from what I'm seeing.
There's something there, that's for sure. Culture, you want to go ahead and wrap this up here for us?
I think it's disappointing. I think it's predictable, and I think looking forward, you're going to see you know, things that are failing flail about in their death throes. And believe it or not, I don't see positive anything for Disney in the future. Is that wrapping it enough for you? How about for, you know, Cedar Fair's merger, which I thought was dumb in the first place?
Terrible.
I mean, that set itself up for failure, taking down some really good theme park locations. And again, I've said this before on other shows. I'll say it again now. None of these are theme parks anymore. There's no such thing, at least under Disney, because now they're IP parks, and that's literally killing the business. So congratulations, Iger. You succeeded on destroying something great and leading it to its doom. There, final words.
That is the perfect conclusion, and I couldn't have asked for more. We'll be keeping everybody updated on all of this. I just find it really, really interesting because, hey, if you look at Comcast numbers, you think the theme park business is doing great, and you look at those Six Flags numbers, and you're like, ugh, it's not so good. So maybe it's regional theme parks, maybe it's a whole cacophony of different things, but I think the old lessons, they still ring true, which is if you build it, they will come. If you build a great attraction that is worth going to, people will pay to see it. And that's just the bottom line right here.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.